Hey, welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Gear. Today we're talking about guitar tone and what you can do to actually get your guitar to sound better. Now, everyone wants their guitars to sound great, and I know like a lot of times people ask me like, what can I do to improve my guitar tone? And my answer's always been the same, and it's simple, just practice. Most of the time, the best tone and the best improvement you can make with your tone on your guitar is in your fingers. But today I want to share with you 25 tips that I've come to discover during my lifetime as a guitarist. And these are some mods and upgrades that you can do to your own guitar that are not necessarily extremely expensive or difficult to do. And these are 25 of the mods that I think have made the biggest tonal improvement to my guitar tone over the years. And I want to share them with you. Now, these tips don't include things like upgrading pickups or swapping amps, because I think those type of things are very obvious. I mean, they're definitely going to change the tonality of your guitar. But instead, today I want to focus on some less drastic measures that you can make to your instrument. Now, I won't go into like detailed information on every single one, because I think a lot of this information that I'm going to be sharing with you today is available on the internet, and you can probably find that information quite easily if you do a simple Google search. And there's a lot of information on how to perform these upgrades and links to, where you can get some of the products that you might need to perform the upgrades. So I'll leave that part up to you. So let's get started and let's go down the list. Number one, get your guitar properly set up by a professional guitar tech. Make sure that you have proper intonation, setup, adjustment of the pickup heights, and whatever else he can do. A lot of times people will just skip over getting their guitar set up. I don't know why this is. Maybe it's to save this 50 or 60 bucks, which is pretty much peanuts if you think of it. If it gets you to really get better tone out of your guitar and more enjoyment out of your guitar, I don't see why somebody would try and skimp over paying $50 or $60 to do so. But a professional guitar tech can do wonders. And if you're not familiar with performing setups on your guitar, trust me, save yourself the headache, bring it to a professional. A lot of times people will buy guitars out of the store and think that they've actually been set up when they actually have not been set up. Whenever you buy a guitar, you should try to negotiate a free setup out of the deal before you take that guitar out of the store. It'll do wonders for you. Number two, use a medium string height rather than trying to aim for a super low action. For years, I've been trying to aim for super low action on my guitar because I really want to be, I want to have a neck that kind of feels effortless to play. But there's drawbacks to that, and some of the drawbacks are, you might experience buzzing on the fretboard, you might experience fret outs, and when you're dealing with super low action, you're going to have a lot more issues, and you're going to probably have to bring it to your guitar tech more often to get it readjusted. So going with a medium height rather than a super low action generally is probably a better bet, especially if you're a more aggressive player and you tend to hit the notes harder. You're going to have probably some better playability with a medium height string. Number three, crown and level your frets to facilitate the overall playability of your guitar. Nothing that I've done over the years comes close to the feeling of a properly crowned and leveled fretboard. A lot of times, even the higher end companies that you might buy a guitar from oftentimes might not have a perfectly flat fretboard. And if you do bring it to a tech and have that guitar flattened properly, you will have better playability for sure, and it will be a much more enjoyable experience. Number four, a well-cut bone nut that is lubed regularly and usually solves any tuning issues you're going to have. A compensated nut will also help make the tuning of open chords more consistent. So a lot of times tuning issues are not necessarily the fault of the tuning keys, but rather the nut. And a nut that's not improperly cut will cause a host of tuning issues. So having a bone nut that's cut properly and is lubricated properly, will get rid of probably 80 or 90% of those tuning issues that are very common in lower end guitars. Number 5, upgrade your pots so that they're more usable throughout the entire course of the sweep. Some lower end pots don't necessarily do very well in terms of the gradient that they offer in the sweep, and you'll go from like 0 or off to like full blast in a quarter of a turn. So I recommend pots that you can buy that are a little bit higher end. RS Guitar Works, for example, has good quality products. They also sell harnesses and stuff that you can install into your guitar and really iron out all the issues you might be having with your pots and make it a much more enjoyable experience. Number 6, install a steel or brass tremolo block in your Strat. Now this will provide better sustain, it will improve the transmission of string vibrations into the body, and will help resonate at some of the lower frequencies that tend to get lost when the blocks of your Strat are using pot metal or something that has less density to them. Number 7, swapping your saddles for steel saddles will improve your sustain. You can use titanium if you're looking for a brighter sound on a generally darker instrument. For example, if your instrument is made of mahogany, for example, and you might want to get some of that top end back, you can usually use a very hard material like titanium to bring that back. Titanium might be a little bit too bright in certain instruments, so you want to be careful and experiment with different types of metal. Generally, steel, brass, or titanium are the most popular. Number 8, switching to a good quality, lower capacitance guitar cord can generally crispen up your guitar tone overall. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people just buying the cheapest guitar cable they can find just to save a couple of bucks. And generally, you know, you're losing quality of tone, you know, it's transmitting more hum and noise with 60 cycle because it's probably not shielded as well as a good quality cord could be. And generally, they don't hold up very long. So generally, you don't want to skimp on a guitar lead. You want to buy something that will last a long time and that will give you the tone that you're looking for. Number 9, switching from a lower gauge string to a higher gauge string generally will thicken up your tone. For the longest time, I was using very, very thick guitar strings because I felt that they were definitely giving me more girth to the sound. And oftentimes when you buy a guitar in a shop, they're generally set up with 9s, maybe 10s, but they don't very frequently go above 10. So if you're looking to fatten up your sound a little bit, you can definitely try experimenting with different gauges of guitar strings. Number 10, changing the type of picks that you're using will definitely influence the tone of your guitar. For the longest time, I was buying the cheapest picks I could find, and over the years, I've come to understand that good quality picks really make the difference. Right now, some of my favorite picks are V-picks, chicken picks, and I like the Dunlop Jazz 3s as well. And it'll definitely change and influence the attack, the crispness of your note, and you have to keep in mind also that certain picks don't do well on all type of guitars. You might not necessarily use the same pick on an acoustic guitar that you would on an electric guitar, for example. So experimenting with different thicknesses and materials of picks, definitely worthwhile. Number 11, swapping your Strat's bridge pickup control pot to a tone control, if it's a volume control, will give you more tonal reach and possibilities and range. So if you're already limited and you want to get a little bit more ability to control the sound, definitely swapping the volume to a tone pot on your Strat will do the trick. Number 12, there's a lot of strings on the market today, and more now are offering coated strings, which make sure that the strings last longer, don't get corroded by the sweat and acid of your perspiration, especially if you're playing a lot of gigs. And they're generally more expensive, but they last longer. So there's a give and take there. And if you're not looking at spending a lot of money on strings and you want to just buy medium quality strings, that's fine too. But just make sure that you change them more often and pay attention to when they become dull, and that'll definitely improve the tone of your guitar tremendously. Number 13. Try a 50s wiring configuration for your Gibson or Gibson style guitar. The 50s wiring configuration was what was used in Gibsons back in the day, and they've changed over the years, and a lot of people swear that, you know, the 50s style wiring definitely promises and provides more tonal variety, more range, and better overall guitar tone. So experiment with different types of wiring for your guitars and find the wiring configuration that works best for you. Number 14. Installing a 0 fret can instantly make your guitar play better and hold tuning more effectively. This is not for everyone, and not every guitar manufacturer offers a 0 fret. But if you're really looking at making some changes on your guitar, this is an option that's out there for you. You might be able to find a replacement guitar neck that does have a 0 fret already installed. It's not an easy thing to do. You don't necessarily want to do this yourself, but there are companies that do offer this as an option as well. So you might want to look at that if you're looking at getting a little bit better playability on your guitar. Number 15. Try adjusting the pickups you already have in your guitar instead of automatically changing them out for something else. There's so many friends of mine that are changing pickups on a weekly basis and not really fine-tuning what they already have. And the height and the adjustment of the height of the pickup in your guitar will have a tremendous effect on the tone of your guitar. If it's set too low, it'll be weak. If it's set too high, it kind of chokes the string and the sustain. So you definitely want to make sure that the pickups you have in your guitar already are properly adjusted. Number 16. Replace a plastic saddle in an acoustic guitar with a bone saddle. This is probably one of the easiest things you can do as an upgrade for an acoustic guitar, and the tonal improvement is substantial. I would recommend this to anyone. A lot of the lower end guitars, the more affordable guitars, automatically come with a plastic saddle, and the tonality of a bone saddle is tremendous. Try it, I'm sure you'll like it. Number 17. Use copper shielding to remove any 60 cycle hum issues you may have. If you can't get your hands on copper shielding, you can also buy shielding paint that is easy to apply and quite inexpensive, and will generally be a big tonal improvement on any single coil guitar that you may have. Number 18. Flip the magnet in the neck pickup of your double humbucker guitar, and this will give you an out of phase option when you're in the middle position. And it's something that was done back in the day and made very popular by Peter Green. A lot of companies are now even actually offering this as an option on their guitars, and it's a simple mod that's not very difficult to do. Number 19. Adjust the stop tail height on your Les Paul style guitar so that's not too steep. To me, it sounds better if it's not too steep behind the bridge, and you can usually find a sweet spot with a little time and experimentation. Number 20. If all the setup, strings, and cables are good and the tone is still not quite what you're after in your guitar, you might try changing the neck as a last resort. Different neck densities, materials, woods can all influence the guitar tone, and after all, most of the strings vibrations pass through the neck as opposed to the body. Number 21. Use stainless steel posts on a Strat or Les Paul style guitar for better resonance and sustain and just general transfer of tone. Number 22. One of my favorite mods is to install a tone bleed circuit so that when you turn your guitar volume down, it retains the high end and doesn't become muddy. Very easy to do, and it's something that you can do on any style of guitar. Number 23. If your bridge pickup in a Telecaster is a little microphonic, try swapping the pickup springs underneath the bridge for rubber tubing. It will often help reduce some of the high, harsh top end that you might be experiencing. Number 24. If your Telecaster pickup squeals, try inserting a piece of foam underneath the bridge pickup to reduce any feedback issues. You don't need much. You can actually take the foam that comes with the pickup. Usually manufacturers will ship their pickups with a little foam in the box. You can take that, cut it out, put it underneath the pickup, and generally that keeps the bottom plate of the pickup from just moving and vibrating, and that's generally what causes any feedback issues. If your Telecaster is too bright, you might try swapping out the bridge for another brand. Callahan makes some very good quality bridges and tend to soften up some of the spiky high end and increase some of the lower mid frequencies as well. I really hope some of these tips can help you in your quest for better tone. Remember, even low-end guitars can be really nice with just a little TLC and love. If you have some tips you'd like to share with me or our viewers, please leave them below. I'm sure they'll be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe today. There's going to be more great tips, reviews, and demos coming your way. So stay tuned and keep rocking.